Hello everyone. So today's video is going to be something different from the regular videos that I usually post on YouTube. Now, have you ever met someone who made you doubt your own decision? Someone who didn't directly tell you what to think, but somehow made you think exactly what they wanted to. Now, that particular what do I say? Thing is called manipulation. You would have had heard about manipulation quite a lot, but probably not know how they actually execute it on us, right? And interestingly, Shakespeare understood this psychology more than 400 years ago. And one of the best example is the character Iago from Shakespeare's Othello. Now, Iago doesn't control people through force. He controls them through words, doubt, and psychology. And today, let's look at five things Shakespeare can teach us about manipulation. Now, who is Iago? First, let's understand Iago. Iago is a soldier who works under Othello and the main character of the play. But Iago is angry because he believes Othello has chosen someone else, probably Cassio, for a promotion. Now, Iago decides to take revenge, but here's what makes him very more dangerous. He doesn't openly attack Othello. Instead, he slowly changes the way Othello sees people around him. Now, he plants idea into his head. He creates doubts and then he allows Othello's own mind to do the rest. So that is the first lesson. Now, manipulation often begins with a very small doubt. Right now, Iago doesn't simply tell Othello, your wife is cheating on you. Instead, he makes small suggestions and he asks questions and he hesitates. He acts as if he doesn't want to say something. And this is what makes Othello very curious. When someone is already curious or insecure, even a small suggestion can become, way more powerful. So think about everyday life. Someone tells you, I don't want to say anything about your friend. And then what happens next? You immediately want to know what it is about, right? So why it happened, what happened. So the person has already planted that idea. Now, manipulation doesn't always give you information. Sometimes it give you just enough information to make you create the story yourself. So Iago understands Othello's fears. He knows Othello is worried about losing Desdemona, his beloved wife. Now he also uses that fear against him. So this is an important lesson for the readers. Now manipulation becomes easier when someone knows what you are afraid of, right? It could be fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of losing someone, fear of looking stupid, or even the need to be accepted. So the manipulator doesn't necessarily create your insecurity, they simply find it and they keep pressing on it. So that's why self awareness is important. If you don't understand your own insecurities, someone else can use them to influence you, right? Now, this is one of the most important and interesting things that Iago does. He rarely gives Othello a complete conclusion. Instead, he gives him pieces, right? So, Othello starts connecting these pieces himself. And once Othello believes that he has reached the conclusion on his own, the idea becomes much stronger. And this happens in the real life too. So, someone may say, I'm just asking, bro, don't you think that your manager is treating you differently? This is like implanting something into your head. Or they can also say that I'm not saying your friend is actually jealous of you, but you have to notice how they behave to you. So they don't directly tell you what to believe, but they guide you towards in a certain way. Maybe probably that's how they want you to think. So the most powerful manipulation can actually feel like your own thought. So whenever someone repeatedly makes you suspicious of people, ask yourself, did I actually observe this myself, or was this idea given to me? So that one question can protect you from a lot of manipulation. And once Othello begins to doubt about Desdemona, Iago keeps feeding that doubt, right? He doesn't need one huge lie. He keeps reinforcing the same story. And this teaches us something very important about human psychology. Repetition can actually make an idea feel true, and we see this everywhere, in advertising, in politics, on social media, in workplaces, and even in personal relationships. So if someone repeatedly tells you she's not really your friend, he doesn't respect you, your team doesn't value you, eventually you may start looking for evidences that prove them right. And so don't only ask, is this story repeated? Ask, what actual evidence supports it? Right? And finally, Shakespeare shows us the most dangerous consequence of manipulation. Iago doesn't simply create conflict between Othello and Desdemona, he destroys trust. And once trust disappears, even I think the innocent actions can look very suspicious to people, right? And a very and also a rate reply, it becomes, they are avoiding me, maybe they are busy with someone else, and a conversation becomes like they must be hiding something. A simple mistake becomes they don't respect me. So this is why manipulation is very powerful. It changes not only what you think, but how you interpret everything around you. And what can Shakespeare teach us about manipulation is basically five things. Point number one, manipulation can begin with a very small doubt, right? And point number two, manipulators use your insecurities. And third one, they can make their ideas feel like you. And fourth, repetition can make a story feel very true. And the fifth one, manipulation can destroy trust absolutely. So, Iago's greatest weapon was not his sword, actually. It was his ability to understand how people think. And perhaps that is Shakespeare's biggest lesson for us. And if you had found this video useful, kindly give it a like and subscribe for my channel, and make sure, and also comment on any topics that you want me to take video on, and we can work it on together. So thank you guys. See you in the next video. Bye bye.